Welcome, everyone. This is the chapter 5 of Birbal Sani, a teacher par excellence. Apart from knowledge of the subject and skill of communication, a teacher has to be sensitive, fair, and good at heart. Birbal had all these qualities at plenty. He returned to India in 1919 from England. Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, the founder of Banaras Hindu University BHU, was keen that Professor Sahni should join BHU Varanasi. The university had earned a reputation of being a great seat for learning. In fact, Professor Sani did join BHU as professor, but somehow he did not feel that he would be able to pursue his passion, paleobotany, at BHU with the intensity he wanted. In 1920, Birbal Sani married Savitri, the daughter of his father's close friend, Mr. Sundar Das Suri. She always stood by him in all difficulties. After getting married in less than a year's time, he moved to Punjab University, Lahore, and in 1921 moved to Lucknow. The inning at Lucknow turned out to be his longest stay. He developed in his students the qualities for which he was himself deservedly famous was initiative, correct observation, meticulous care of details, a critical attitude, and thoroughness of work. He had an open mind on any problem and never came to hasty conclusion. It was therefore not easy to shake a position which he generally took after due deliberations and a judicious sifting of facts. He did not try to smother or minimize the opponent's point of view, but always met it squarely and fairly. In spite of the extreme courtesy and politeness in his expression, the effect of his arguments was often devastating to the cause he opposed. This is said by C. Mahadevan, former head of the Department Botany, Madras University, Chennai. Professor Sani came to know as a professor and was entrusted with the responsibility of heading the Department of Botany. He meant business right from the word go. He took upon himself the job of revising the curriculum for graduate classes and systematically initiated the arrangements of the other courses with BSc honors and masters. Another thing he believed in was that the senior teachers should initiate the fresh students into the subject. This was contrary to the general practice of the senior teachers taking only postgraduate classes. He felt that with their higher experience and maturity, the senior faculty would be able to explain the students the finer nuances of the subject and the help the students in developing a love for the subject by enabling them to formulate clearer concepts of the subject. Professor Sani was a very popular teacher. His lectures were sometimes attended by students who did not belong to that course. He had a gift of God to find the right word and style to describe a fossil, the scene of a field or an idea. He would draw the diagram on the blackboard using both his hands and lucidly describe it. His research papers had the stamp of his class and were vivid and succinct in presentation. He was a perfectionist by nature. In paleobotany, he was dealing with objects that didn't exist in the real world in their original form anymore and hence required an extraordinary ability to describe them. Another of his qualities was not to limit to the textbook while teaching. In his classes, he used to bring in the latest discoveries in the field. This made the lectures more wholesome, more exciting, and the students benefited by getting the actual flavor of the subject. He guided 16 students during their doctoral degree. More than the number, it was the quality of his students. No wonder they all went on to make a name. Famous botanist Professor Topur Sitapati Sadasivan, that is 1913 to 2001, Padma Bhushan, was a renowned plant pathologist with DSc from the University of London. He was also Director, Center for Advanced Studies in Botany, University of Madras, 1944 to 1973, and later Chairman of the governing body, Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleobotany, Lucknow. This is what he had to say about Professor Sahni as a teacher. To his students, he was an idol to be emulated. He was loved and respected. A nationalist to the core, his personality was one that attracted the attention of the entire scientific community. He never sought anything from anyone. In fact, he was sought after for his wise counsel, both administrative and academic. Professor Sani's students and colleagues had many anecdotes to recount about him. Late Dr. R.N. Lakhanpal, a reputed paleobotanist and former distinguished scientist at BSIP, once told this author that Professor Sani was mild in manners who would not like to hurt anyone. If a student drew a diagram incorrectly, Sani would softly say, "If I were you, I'd have drawn it like this." Then he would follow it up with a demonstration by drawing the correct figure himself. This was a great quality that made students love as well as respect him at the same time. People who are really great don't enjoy belittling others. Professor Birbal Sahni introduced paleobotany as a special paper for MSc students. This was a major way to promote paleobotany in the country. The idea was that possibly some of the students would develop interest in the subject due to the skilled teacher because of early exposure might take up research in the field of paleobotany. Later, Kolkata University, Allahabad University and some others also followed suit. Professor Sani continued research along with teaching and administrative work. A big recognition came when the Cambridge University, UK, decided to confer on him the degree of TSc in the year 1929. His research standing, coupled with his teaching skills, made the botany department of the University of Lucknow a prime center in the country for learning as well as research in paleobotany. It was becoming clear that paleobotany is inseparable from geology. As Professor Sani himself said later sometime, fossil plants represent the debt that botany owes to geology. His efforts bore fruit in 1943 and the Department of Geology was established at the University of Lucknow. Professor Sani was made its head and remained so as long as he was alive. Thank you.